Have you been feeling joint pain even though you eat well? Do you wake up with stiff fingers, or do you feel your knees catching when going down a ladder? If you answered yes, understand, you are not alone. Many people over 50 are beginning to notice that simple tasks, such as getting out of bed or taking a walk in the late afternoon, have become a challenge. And the worst, even doing everything right, eating well, taking vitamins, avoiding exaggerations, the pain persists. It is as if the body is crying for help, but no one hears. And I tell you a truth that almost no one comments. Maybe the problem is not what you stop doing, but rather what is missing from your plate every day. Because arthritis doesn't warn. It starts slowly like a nuisance. A stiffness here, a little pain there, until one day you realize that you have stopped doing things that were once simple, like opening a glass jar or climbing 2 flights of stairs without stopping. What few people understand is that after 50, your body changes, and it needs the right fuel, it needs the right ingredients. And when I talk about this, I am not talking about expensive medicines or magic formulas. I'm talking about specific proteins. Yes, 4 proteins that have the real power to relieve inflammation, rebuild your joints, and return lightness to your movements. If you've ever felt like giving up because of the pain, if you've ever lost sleep trying to find a comfortable position, or if you're afraid of depending on someone to get around, I want you to listen carefully to what's next. Because maybe, just maybe, what's missing in your life isn't more willpower, it's just real food with the right information. Stay with me until the end of this video, because these 4 proteins may be the turning point that your body, and your freedom, have been waiting for a long time. And the most surprising thing is that these proteins are not exotic, expensive, or difficult to find. They are in the markets, in the fairs, and maybe even there in your fridge, just waiting to be used in the right way. What is missing, most of the time, is knowing how to fit them into everyday life so that they bring real relief, and not just another promise that frustrates. That's why, if you're interested in simple, natural, and effective solutions to regain your body's well-being, it's worth following our next content. Each week, I share practical and accessible guidelines, especially designed for those who want to live with more autonomy and less pain after 50. Now, let's get straight to the point. Get to know the 4 proteins that can transform your diet and your joint health. The first of them is undervalued but has an immense power of reconstruction. The first protein that can change the course of your joint health is called hydrolyzed collagen. You may have heard of it, but what many don't know is that it's not enough to simply take collagen and expect results. It is necessary to understand why it is so essential and, especially, how to integrate it efficiently into your diet, especially after the age of 50, when the natural production of this substance plummets significantly. Collagen is the most abundant protein in our body. It is like a biological cement that binds everything together: joints, tendons, muscles, skin, bones. Without it, the body literally begins to give way. And that's exactly what happens as we age. From the age of 50, our body drastically reduces the ability to synthesize collagen, and this directly affects your joints. That's why, even with healthy habits, you may be feeling more and more intense pain in your knees, shoulders, and fingers, and you don't understand why. The good news is that there is a way to replace this collagen effectively, with scientific backing, and feeling real effects, not immediate, but progressive and constant. The ideal type of collagen for joints is type 2, hydrolyzed. When you hear the word hydrolyzed, understand it as collagen that has undergone a process that leaves it more broken into smaller particles, facilitating absorption by the body. This is essential because poor quality or poorly absorbed collagen is simply excreted without any benefit. But why does this matter so much to those who suffer from arthritis? Because this condition, whether it is osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, is closely linked to inflammation and wear and tear of cartilage, which is nothing more than a structure rich in collagen. And when this cartilage wears down, the bone begins to scrape against the bone, causing pain, swelling, and stiffness. Replenishing collagen helps to rebuild this protective layer and reduce this painful friction. Serious studies have shown that the continuous use of hydrolyzed type 2 collagen can reduce inflammation in the joints, relieve chronic pain, and even improve mobility. In some cases, people who relied on painkillers on a daily basis were able to gradually reduce their use by integrating this protein into their routine. Of course, always with proper guidance and within a more careful lifestyle with food. Here, we are not talking about miracles, but about an evidence-based nutritional strategy. And how to include this in practice? One of the most common ways is the use of collagen powder, diluted in water or natural juices, preferably in the morning, on an empty stomach, or at night before bed, times when the body has a greater capacity for protein assimilation. But it is also possible to find this protein in natural broths made with bones, an old, almost forgotten but extremely powerful habit. When you prepare a bone broth over low heat for several hours, you release a large amount of collagen, as well as important minerals for bones, such as calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. The flavor can be mild, and this broth can be a base for soups, sauces, or even consumed plain. It is a tradition that comes from our grandmothers, and that today science confirms as one of the most accessible ways to take care of the joints, without exaggeration, without fads. But beware, collagen does not work alone. It needs helpers to function well. Among them, vitamin C is the most important. It is essential for the body to transform the collagen consumed into useful tissue for your joints. Therefore, combine its consumption with fruits rich in vitamin C, such as acerola, guava, orange, kiwi. It may seem too simple to work, but this combination can be decisive in stopping the progression of pain and regaining your freedom of movement. And here is a warning. Not every collagen supplement sold on the market is of sufficient quality to have an effect. Many come mixed with unnecessary substances or in such small dosages that they make no difference. Therefore, always read the label. Check if the product has type 2 collagen and if it is associated with vitamin C or hyaluronic acid. And whenever possible, seek guidance from a nutritionist or health professional who understands the subject, because each body responds in a different way. But above all, don't underestimate the power of small, consistent changes. Collagen is just one piece of this puzzle, but an essential piece. If you've ever felt like you're losing control of your body, if you stopped walking, dancing, playing with your grandchildren, or taking care of your garden because the pain won't let you, then this is the time to start turning this game around. And when you start giving your body what it really needs, it responds. It can take weeks, maybe months, but the return comes. Gradually you realize that getting out of bed is no longer a martyrdom, that the steps seem less steep, that stiffness in the hands gives way to more lightness. This is priceless. This is quality of life. And it starts where few look, in the right protein, in the right dose, at the right time. Therefore, before thinking about complex solutions or increasingly stronger remedies, look at your routine. What's missing from your plate? What has your body been silently asking for? The answer may lie in a spoonful of well-made broth, a glass of collagen on an empty stomach, or a snack reinforced with the right nutrients. It seems simple, and it is. But it is this powerful simplicity that, when applied consistently, changes lives. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now as we move on to the next protein on our list. It is perhaps one of the most complete natural sources of relief for inflammation and has a special benefit for those who live with morning stiffness and loss of muscle strength, symptoms so common for those over 50. Let's go together, because the best is yet to come. And when it comes to reducing inflammation, relieving joint pain, and regaining freedom of movement, it's impossible to ignore the power of omega-3 rich fish. The next protein I want to introduce you to is in the oldest foods in our food history, but today, due to modern habits or misinformation, it has been left aside. And this is costly for those who suffer from arthritis, morning stiffness, and persistent pain. I'm talking about cold water fatty fish, such as salmon, sardines, and mackerel. These foods are true natural anti-inflammatory powerhouses. And understanding why this happens can radically change the way you deal with pain after 50. Not only do these fish offer very high-quality protein, but they have all the amino acids your body needs to keep your connective tissues in good shape. They are also one of the richest sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which play a central role in regulating inflammation, and that's exactly where the secret lies. Because arthritis pain is not only caused by wear and tear on the joints. Chronic inflammation, silent, persistent, invisible on exams, is what fuels pain, swelling, and limited movement. When you consume omega-3 regularly, you are putting a substance in your body that interferes with the inflammatory process from the root. It acts as a biological brake that helps stop the cycle of aggression that affects your joints. For those living with arthritis, this means more than a fleeting relief. It means the real chance to recover quality of life, to go back to doing simple activities with pleasure, without the constant ghost of pain. And the most interesting thing is that this does not depend on expensive drugs or complex formulas. It is in nature, at your fingertips, in the meals you can make for lunch or dinner, in a tasty and nutritious way. Serious research, conducted by renowned universities around the world, has shown that regular consumption of omega-3s, whether through diet or quality supplementation, is associated with a significant reduction in the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. This includes less morning stiffness, less pain, and even improved mobility. In some cases, people who suffered from constant pain reported a noticeable improvement after about 8 to 12 weeks of continuous use. And here, once again, the maxim that I have been reinforcing applies. The body responds to consistency, regularity, persistence. Small changes made with awareness and constancy have a lasting impact. Another essential point, especially for those over 50, is the issue of muscle strength. Aging naturally brings a loss of lean mass, which impairs the balance, endurance, and protection of the joints. And when you consume proteins like omega-3 rich fish, you not only nourish your joints, but also strengthen your supporting muscles, which reduces the risk of falls, improves posture, and restores safety to everyday movements. With every mouthful, you're building a stronger, more resilient body, more prepared to live well for longer. Many people think that eating fish is expensive or difficult, but this is not true. Sardines, for example, are extremely affordable, easy to prepare, and retain most of the nutrients even in canned versions, as long as you choose options without excess preservatives, and preferably preserved in water or olive oil. And sardines have an incredible differential. In addition to omega-3, they are one of the few natural food sources of vitamin D and bioavailable calcium, since their bones are edible and extremely nutritious. For those with arthritis, this is a gift, because vitamin D is essential for bone and immune health, and vitamin D deficiency is common in the over 50 population, especially in people who don't regularly get sun exposure. Salmon, on the other hand, despite having a higher cost, can be used intelligently. You don't have to consume it daily. Once or twice a week, it can already bring significant benefits. In addition, there are versions on sale, simpler cuts, and even frozen fillets that preserve nutrients. The important thing is to maintain the habit, adapt to your budget, and ensure that this powerful source of relief is present in your diet regularly. If you are not a fan of fish or have difficulty consuming it frequently, it is worth considering supplementation. But beware, not every omega-3 supplement is the same. Many products available on the market have low concentrations of the active fatty acids EPA and DHA, which are responsible for the anti-inflammatory effects. Others are oxidizing or blended with low-quality vegetable oils. Therefore, before buying, read the label. Look for reliable brands with a concentration of more than 500 millimeters of EPA plus DHA per capsule, and that indicate purity and control of heavy metals, such as mercury. And always talk to your health professional to ensure that the product is suitable for your history. But if you manage to maintain a balanced diet, which includes fish such as sardines, mackerel, and salmon throughout the week, you will already be taking a giant step towards a life with less pain, more freedom, and more pleasure in moving. And when that happens, when you feel like you can walk longer, lift up more lightly, pick up a grandchild, or even go back to doing an activity you love, it feels like rebirth, of reunion with a part of him that seemed lost, muffled by pain. And all this starts on the plate, with the right choice, made with affection, with intention, with wisdom. Always remember, every meal is an opportunity, a chance to heal, to nourish, to rebuild. Your body has an incredible capacity for regeneration, even over the years. What he needs is the right tools, at the right time. And these tools are often in the simplest and oldest foods, such as the fish that fed generations before the era of ultra-processed foods. Now, if you're wondering how to incorporate this in a practical way into your routine, don't worry. Throughout the video, we will bring suggestions, combinations, and even simple recipes that can make fish consumption more enjoyable, varied, and efficient. Because here, the focus is not just to inform you, it is to help you transform your life with possible steps, respecting your time, your reality, and your body. And as we continue on this journey together, you will learn even more solutions that, combined with collagen and omega-3, form a powerful trio of joint protection and reconstruction. The next protein, for example, is affordable, versatile, and carries a nutritious combination so rich that it may even surprise you. Let's keep going. Your journey toward a life with less pain is just beginning. The next protein on our list may seem ordinary, but it's a real nutritional gem when you look closely. And believe me, it plays a vital role in muscle reconstruction, strengthening joints and controlling the inflammation that so punishes those who live with arthritis or feel constant pain after 50. I'm talking about the egg. Yes, the egg. This simple food, present in almost every home, is one of the most complete sources of protein and a powerful ally for those who want to maintain strength, mobility, and well-being in maturity. For many years, the egg was unjustly accused of being a villain because of cholesterol. Many people stopped eating, believing that they were doing their best for their hearts. Today, science shows the opposite. For the vast majority of people, moderate consumption of eggs is safe, healthy, and more than that, essential for a more active life after 50. And when it comes to joint health, the egg deserves special mention. First, let's talk about its composition. The egg is considered a complete protein. This means that it contains all 9 essential amino acids that our bodies cannot produce on their own, and that are essential for building and repairing tissues, including the tissues that make up our joints, ligaments, and muscles. For those who are facing loss of lean mass, something very common from middle age onwards, this type of protein is indispensable. Strengthening the muscles around the joints is one of the most effective ways to reduce pressure on them, relieve pain, and improve the stability of the body. But the benefits of eggs don't stop at protein. The yolk, which many still avoid, is actually a concentrate of anti-inflammatory nutrients. It is rich in choline, a substance that acts in the health of the brain, liver, and especially in the regulation of inflammation. People with arthritis, especially rheumatoid arthritis, live with continuous inflammatory processes, even when there is no acute pain. Including choline in your diet helps balance this process, bringing long-term relief. In addition to choline, the yolk is also a source of B vitamins, such as B6 and B12, which play key roles in neurological health and cell regeneration. For those who experience joint pain associated with nerve sensitivity or loss of strength, these vitamins are great allies. And as if that weren't enough, the egg contains selenium and vitamin D, 2 micronutrients with antioxidant action and a positive effect on combating oxidative stress that accelerates joint aging. Another important point to highlight is the bioavailability of the egg. This means that the body can absorb and use its nutrients efficiently. Unlike processed foods where many nutrients are lost or rendered useless, eggs deliver real value. It is as if each bite were a package of cell reconstruction, carefully prepared by nature. But it is necessary to know how to consume intelligently. The ideal is to prepare the egg in a way that preserves its nutrients and avoids excess bad fats. Boiled, poached, or stirred in a drizzle of olive oil are all great options. Avoid frying in reused oils or preparing omelets that are heavily loaded with inflammatory ingredients like sausages, processed cheeses, and artificial seasonings. The egg works best when it is the protagonist of the dish, accompanied by vegetables rich in fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins that complement its beneficial action. And here's a practical tip for your day-to-day. Including eggs for breakfast can be an excellent strategy for those who feel morning stiffness or pain as soon as they wake up. This is because the body, after overnight fasting, is more receptive to the absorption of nutrients, and providing a rich dose of protein early in the morning helps stabilize blood glucose, sustain satiety, and, at the same time, deliver essential elements to start the day with more energy and less pain. For those who have specific dietary restrictions, such as yolk intolerance or digestive problems, it is possible to opt for the egg white, even if it means giving up many important nutrients. In these cases, it is worth seeking balance. Consume the yolk in moderation, at strategic times, and whenever possible with professional guidance. The key is in adaptation, and never in total exclusion except by medical indication. It is also important to dispel a myth. Eating eggs every day for most people is not harmful. On the contrary. Recent studies show that 1 or 2 eggs a day within a balanced diet can improve cardiovascular health, muscle function, and even cognition. And all of this, as you can see, is deeply linked to healthy aging, the one we all seek, with dignity, autonomy, and vitality. The regular inclusion of eggs in the diet, therefore, is more than a nutritional choice. It is an attitude of care, a step towards a life with more control over pain, more pleasure in meals, and more presence in the simple moments of everyday life. How many times have you stopped going out, going for a walk, experiencing something special because of physical limitation? What if a part of this change is in the simplicity of such a common food? Let's talk about cost-benefit. Eggs are one of the most affordable foods from a financial point of view. In times when many health products have almost unfeasible prices, the egg remains firm as a democratic, nutritious, and versatile option. It can be consumed for coffee, lunch, dinner, or in small snacks. What's more, it goes with just about everything: salads, vegetables, tubers, whole grains. This allows you to create a rich, varied eating routine that is much more favorable to your body's recovery. And the most beautiful thing about all this is to realize that, with conscious choices, you regain the leading role in your health. By including foods like eggs in your routine, you don't just feed the body. You communicate to yourself that you are willing to care, to rebuild, to seek relief wisely. This has a profound emotional impact, because pain often makes us feel powerless, tired, limited. But the right food has the power to restore hope. Remember that there are paths, yes, and that they are closer than we imagine. Now, we move on, because there is still one more protein that closes this cycle of transformation. A vegetable protein that can be the ideal answer for those looking for variety, lightness, and nutritional power without giving up joint health. It is undervalued, but it carries a set of surprising benefits, especially for those who are over 50 and want to maintain vitality without overloading the body. Let's discover together this last essential piece in rebuilding your well-being. And now, we come to the last protein of this journey. And as in any good walk, the ending brings a piece that ties everything we've seen so far. This protein has immense value, especially for those who are looking for lightness, easy digestion, and still want to take care of muscle strength, joint health, and the body's inflammatory balance. We are talking about quinoa and other plant sources of complete protein. Yes, it's possible to take care of your joints, reduce arthritis pain, and rebuild your well-being from plant foods, as long as you know which ones to choose and how to use them to your advantage. Quinoa specifically is one of the very rare plant sources that offer all the essential amino acids in balanced proportions. This means that, even without animal origin, it gives your body the tools it needs to repair tissues, strengthen muscles, keep ligaments firm, and help form the collagen matrix that supports your joints. And this is an essential point for those over 50. the body begins to lose protein faster than it can replace, and this accelerates the weakening of support structures. Without strong muscles, joints are more exposed, more vulnerable, and pain appears more frequently and intensely. In addition, quinoa is high in fiber and has a low glycemic index, which means that it does not cause blood sugar spikes. This is essential for those who suffer from chronic inflammation, such as arthritis, as high glucose levels favor the production of inflammatory substances. And here comes one of the greatest merits of this vegetable protein. It doesn't just help build, it helps balance. Its regular consumption contributes to a less inflamed, more stable, more resistant internal environment to the cycles of pain that repeat themselves day after day. Another advantage of quinoa and other vegetable proteins, such as lentils, chickpeas, assorted beans, tofu, and seeds such as chia and flaxseed, is the positive impact on digestion. For many people over the age of 50, the digestive tract no longer responds as it used to. There is a reduction in stomach acidity, a slowdown in metabolism, and this makes it difficult to absorb nutrients. Plant proteins, especially when prepared correctly, are smoother to digest and tend to cause less discomfort, such as gas or bloating. This allows you to eat more often, with more variety, without sacrificing well-being. And contrary to what many imagine, you don't need to follow a 100% vegetarian diet to benefit from these sources. Just include them in your menu, alongside the other proteins we've already talked about: collagen, fatty fish, eggs, and the result will be a powerful balance. Nutritional diversity is one of the secrets to combat the effects of aging on the joints. What's more, when you expand your food options, you reduce your dependence on supplements and medications, which generates autonomy and, of course, long-term savings. But there's something even more interesting about quinoa. It's extremely versatile. It can be served as a substitute for rice, in cold salads, in soups, as a base for homemade hamburgers, even in sweet preparations such as porridge and pancakes. This allows you to integrate this food into your routine in a tasty, pleasurable way. And this is essential, because real health does not come from sacrifice, it comes from constancy. And for there to be constancy, you need pleasure in eating. You may be wondering, but will this work for me? Can these simple changes really bring relief after so many years of pain? And I understand you. Chronic pain wears down not only the body, but hope. It steals confidence in solutions. But I invite you to give it a chance. Not a blind chance, but based on logic, science, and the experience of those who have already applied these strategies and reaped real fruits. Because what your body needs now is nutrients that work in your favor, day after day, meal after meal. And if you've made it this far, it tells me something very important. You care about your health. You didn't give up. You want to live with more lightness, more energy, more freedom. And this is already the most important step. The knowledge is here. The decision is now in your hands, or rather, on your plate. So, if this content made sense to you, I ask you, with great affection, to subscribe to the channel. Here, every week, you will find practical, accessible, and, above all, respectful information about your time, your history, and your body. What's more, by subscribing, you help me continue to take this content to more people who, like you, are looking to live better after 50. Don't let that chain stop at you. And if you want to continue learning, I invite you now to watch the other videos on the channel. It has content about the worst foods for your joints, anti-inflammatory recipes, breakfast mistakes that are accelerating aging, and much more. Each video is thought out with care, based on science, and focused on helping you regain your autonomy with dignity. Before leaving, answer me in the comments. Which of these proteins do you already consume on a daily basis? And which one do you intend to include from today? Write down below, because I read all the comments, and I'd love to know how your journey is going. If you want, also leave the name of your city. It's always beautiful to see from where each person is watching and forming this community of care, support, and transformation. Let's go together. Your body deserves it. You deserve it.